Today we're going to do a review of the Ridge Commuter Backpack, but in particular the collab version with MKBHD. Here at Nomads Nation, we have reviewed over 500 bags, so I'm really excited to sink my teeth into this bag, tell you my experience from wearing it for the past week. I'm going to give you my honest pros and cons. And if you're not quite sold on this bag, you're going to want to stick around to the end of this video, where I'll make some alternative recommendations for bags that might better suit your needs. Let's talk about the gist of the Ridge Commuter Backpack 20 liter MKBHD collab. Two brands to talk about, both are kind of epic. Ridge is a huge company, known for their carbon fiber metal wallets, that I'm also a huge fanboy of because I started my own backpack company, so I got to learn about e-commerce. And the CEO of Ridge, his name is Sean Frank, and I'm like a super fan of him. I listen to his Operators podcast, and he's just like the coolest dude ever. And then on the flip side, they collabed with MKBHD, another brand you may have heard of, possibly the world's biggest YouTuber. So we got like this marvel combining of powers to bring together a bag that's really hyped up, that has a lot going on for it, that also has some compromises as well. Let's talk about some of the bag's top features. We've got sort of a classic old school backpack silhouette with MKBHD's logo at the top, made with carbon fiber. You got a quick access pocket in the front here, clamshell style opening to the main compartment, tons of organization within that main compartment that also gives you a secondary point of access. We've got two side water bottle holders, a separate tech sleeve in the back, a hidden zippered back pocket right here, and a removable internal divider system that I'm slightly perplexed by, which we'll talk about 2 sections from now. Now, as of recording, this commuter backpack comes in one size, 20 liters, which is great for everyday carry. And there's 3 different versions. You've got the regular version in black, the regular version in green, and then the MKBHD version. I don't have the original with me, so I can't really compare and contrast the feature sets. But based on my 5-minute internet research, the bags are fairly similar in their feature sets. The bag has a height of around 17 inches, a width of just under 13 inches, and a fully packed out depth of just around 7 inches. For the weight of the bag, we got 2.5 pounds on scale number 1. And 2.6 pounds on scale number 2. This is the Ridge Commuter Pack when it's empty, and this is the pack when it's fully packed out and worn on the Nomads Nation team. I'm 5'8" and Margaret's 5'2", and we're gonna pack out this bag throughout the entire review so you can see exactly what it fits. The Ridge Commuter Pack is protected with a lifetime warranty against manufacturing defects. And for all that, right now, this bag runs around 185 USD, but it's actually on sale for 130 USD. And Ridge is definitely a company that's known for having a lot of flash sales, so be sure to keep an eye out for that. And if at any point in this review you are interested in making a purchase, we do recommend doing so with the first link in the description below. Reason being, that link makes sure that you get the best price, and we oftentimes have discount codes. But that link also helps support the Nomads Nation YouTube channel and team, so we can keep making the best bag reviews on the web. Thank you so much. All right, let's talk about the front of the Ridge Commuter Backpack 20 liter MKBHD collab. This is definitely a bag that has sort of, like I said, an old school aesthetic, kind of Jan sporty in some ways, which you're either gonna kind of find a little boring, or you'll kind of find that refreshing, as where a lot of new school bags are very modern and jetpacky. That's where this kind of retains that respect for heritage style with bags, which also keeps it nice and subtle and low key, which means you're gonna draw less attention to yourself. The bag does have a bit of panache with the MKBHD logo, like I said, which is made out of carbon fiber, and it utilizes a 900D ballistic nylon fabric. Ballistic nylon is an absolute miracle material when it comes to backpacks. It's kind of overdone in some ways. I'm a little bored of it after reviewing so many bags, but there's a reason why it's overdone. It just frickin' works. It's a fabric that gives you a bit of weather resistance and a crap ton of abrasion resistance. It's actually a fabric developed by the military, so when it comes to durability, it's hard to beat. On the front, we've got this secondary fabric here as well. Just kind of gives the bag a little bit of life, but there's no pockets there. The only pocket is the zippered pocket below the logo. And this pocket is concealed a little bit with this flap, which will make it a little bit more difficult to access, but does provide a bit more weather resistance, as the rain will sort of slide right off. This pocket runs down to about here. There's no additional organization, just a basic quick access pocket, which for me, when I was wearing this bag, was a great spot for my sunglasses. Pops in a hard case, you can see, slide it in there, bada bing, bada boom. The Ridge zipper puller is pretty standard. You've got the nylon cord, plastic pull tab right there, gets the job done. Overall, the front of the bag is pretty simple, but let's get into the meat and potatoes of this review. Let's talk about the middle of the Ridge Commuter Backpack 20 liter MKBHD collab. Starting on the bottom, notice that it's a very flat design, which functionally is fucking awesome because it allows you to have a bag that self-stands. Self-standing bags are great for so many reasons, but it does increase the bulk of the bag, right? As opposed to a sexy sort of cylinder hiking sort of bag. Just this big old square. But for me, I'll take that over a non-self-standing bag 10 times out of 10. Now notice these two zippers here get you into the main compartment, and they're both PU coated, and I assume YKK, absolutely. YKK makes the best zippers in the game, which is great at this $180 price point. And the PU coating is this matte, sort of shiny finish. PU equals polyurethane, which on the pros side gives you a bit more weather resistance, but not a bunch more because you gotta keep in mind that these seams right here, water can still drip through there, so, you know, it gives you a bit more protection from the rain. But a lot of people like it for the sleek look, but do keep in mind that PU coated zippers can peel and look like this over time. For the main compartment, we have these different zipper pullers. I like the Ridge logo because it does give you a bit of grip, and it gives you clamshell style opening. This is a really nice clamshell too. Sometimes clamshells can pinch at the end, but we got the full zipper opening. See how it curves in there? That gives you a really nice, complete clamshell style opening. So I quite like that. But one thing I don't like about this bag is just how dark the lining is. And I don't just not like that because I'm a YouTube reviewer and it makes it difficult for me to find the right angle to light this thing so you can see what's inside, but also just as a user, it just makes the inside of the bag a bit of a dark hole, which kind of finds it difficult to know what you put where. A lot of modern bags are utilizing lighter lining inside the bag. Typically, you'll see light grays and oranges, which I think would have been a really nice touch on this bag. Unfortunately though, we're stuck with black. On the front panel, we have 2 mesh pockets. And on the back panel, we got a ton of organization. Let's start with the back. Now let's talk about Ridge's adjustable divider, which isn't my favorite. Like, all right, I'm gonna give them credit. Like, a lot of people like this sort of modularity in their backpack. We've seen it on brands like Peak Design, for instance. They're really known for their camera bags. And the whole point of these dividers is that you've got the Velcro attachment point here and Velcro here. So you can, in essence, create your own divider like so. You can see you have this panel right there, but it's not gonna fully connect to the other side. But I guess the Velcro is pretty strong. I don't know, maybe it's just a personal bias. I'm not really into stuff like this. But let me know in the comments below, like, do you like this sort of personalization with the bag? You can, in theory, put your lunchbox here, maybe like a camera cube. Overall, for me, not my favorite, but I do see the use case. All right, we're gonna start by packing out this bag with all your smaller tidbits of gear. On this front panel, good spot for meds. I'll be honest, I'm not crazy about this mesh that's being used. It feels a little bit cheap at the price point. There's no elasticity to the mesh. It works, just not my favorite. On the bottom pocket, I'm gonna throw tissues and gum. Mesh is great though because it is see-through, right? So you can just have a little extra reminder of what you put where. Now, this is like the admin area, which is great in some ways and it's gonna have some compromises due to its location. It's great because you can kind of have a spot for everything. With the top zippered pocket, I'm gonna throw my cable. Got a mouse, portable battery. Now I like these pockets because they utilize a Darlington mesh. And you can see this mesh stretchy. Unlike this mesh, kind of cheap and not stretchy. This mesh premium and stretchy. But these compartments are competing with space a little bit. You can see these larger pockets. God, I gotta lift it up. You see that dark black lining? It's making my job very difficult, Ridge. But you can see right here, we've utilized this big old power brick, which is then eating into this secondary pocket. We can still make them work. I'm gonna throw my AirPods in there, my Zyn tin in the other one, a couple pens here. One thing to note about this bag is there's no real place to put your keys that I've seen yet. Maybe it will reveal itself to me later. And then I got a rain cover as well. I'm gonna go ahead and put that here so you can see these back pockets do have a bit more capacity to fit larger bits of gear as well. So organization is great, but one problem you're gonna have is when this bag is fully packed out, this compartment in this area is just a bit more difficult to access. Now before I pack it out, it should be noted too, we have a little air tag sleeve right here, Velcro security, nice and discreet. Let's pack it out. So if you're watching this, you're probably an MKBHD fan, which means you're a big tech guy, right? Or gal. So I got a couple of tech pouches I'm gonna throw in there. And you can see these tech pouches are already like limiting this access. And the whole thing is like, I kind of want quicker access to this stuff, especially if you end up throwing a sweater on top. Should be noted too, this is a 20-liter bag. It feels like 20 liters. A perfect 20L, in my opinion. But Ridge, and possibly MKBHD, said, you know what? We will improve access with this secondary zipper here. And what that does is it does give you a bit more, you know, access to the gear that you have in the admin compartment. So if you want to grab that mouse or those pens, a bit easier. So I will say that this zipper is a, you know, kind of a godsend, because without it, access would be a Again, self-standing really well now that the bag is packed out. Let's talk about the water bottle pockets. They got one on each side, and they are further secured via magnet. I don't think magnets are necessary. Actually, you know, I quite like it. Reason being, let's take my 24-ounce Columbia water bottle here, throw it on the side, and we have this gusset with an elastic expander. And this gives you some versatility as to where if nothing is in the water bottle holder, it stays nice and flush, because the elastic pulls it in, but over time, this elastic part might die, so the magnet gives you a little bit of extra something to keep that compartment flush if you stretch out the elastic too far. Like I said, the 24-ounce Columbia water bottle fits no problemo. Let's try a 1-liter Yeti, also fits nicely. This is a really nice water bottle holder design because you can see it's not really eating into the main compartment too much. Ever so slightly, it always will to some capacity, but more or less this is a pocket that has its own volume. And I actually quite like the magnet. Very satisfying. But in contrast, they've also added a magnet underneath the top handle here, which I think is just unnecessary. I mean, it doesn't kill the bag in any means. But using this in my commuter experience, I'm in Hong Kong, I'm using the train every day, I'm using this top handle, and it's like, why is there a effing magnet there? But that aside, big fan of the top handle, super chunky, very comfortable, easy-ish to grab, minus that magnet kind of gets in the way. I have no idea why they put a magnet there. Now, before we jump into the next section, I want to let you know that, don't get me wrong, I understand magnets and backpacks, they go together like tacos and tequila. Actually, after reviewing like hundreds of other people's bags, I got like bag fever and I wanted to make my own. So I actually launched one last year, the Fire T22, and like we threw a bunch of magnets on it because like it just is a very satisfying experience for backpacks. I've just never seen one quite done on the top handle like this. And by the way, if you want to learn more about the backpack that I made, which is also a tech backpack, we got over 2,000 backers on Kickstarter, be sure to check the second link in the description below. Okay, moving on, let's talk about the back of the MKBHD Collab Ridge Commuter 20-liter backpack. All right, let's talk tech compartment. Protected with a YKK PU-coated zipper, and you can see we got something that I'm a really big fan of. We've got this microfiber lining with a really kind of cool computer stitching. It kind of like looks like maybe kind of lame. It's either gonna remind you of like a Bentley car or like your grandma's quilt. What do you think? Super badass, Bentley Continental interior, or Grandma Mary's favorite blanket? Let me know in the comments below what this makes you think of. But regardless of whether or not you like the design, it's a really nice fabric. It's microfiber, so it's going to keep your computer very safe. It's very well padded, it's scratch resistant, and you've got Darlington mesh divider right here as well. Let's do a little laptop test. I got a 13-inch MacBook Pro. You can slide that in there, and you can see it is swallowed. So we can definitely go bigger. Got a 3D printout of a 16-inch MacBook Pro, and we're fitting. I don't think we're gonna get any bigger than that though. So you can see, although we got a lot of space in the top, the zipper's here. That's probably as big as you're gonna get. But the 16-inch definitely closes. We're getting a little bit of pressure here, but I'd be okay with that. But don't go any bigger than a 16-inch. And like I said, you do have the divider right here, which I'm gonna say is definitely not ideal for a tablet. This is not an ideal laptop, tablet, backpack. But if you carry some documents or a folder, you can definitely use that divider for a bit of a separation, but honestly, the functionality isn't great, but you know, you can squeeze it in there. It works. But for a single laptop protection, I quite like it. We got a lot of padding on this back panel. Let's look at the false bottom. Bit of a false bottom, actually not like a crazy false bottom, but there is padding on the bottom, which kind of creates a little bit of falseness of a bottom. So maybe if you're carrying a smaller laptop, it might be good to double wrap it. Close that on up, good to go. We've got an adorable little hanging loop right here, which I actually utilize. These are great for when you're in public bathrooms and you want to hang the bag up, you don't want it to hit the ground, you don't want to damage this handle, and to be honest, it's way too far back anyways, so this little hanging loop is such a small yet nice thing to have for when you need it. Now, being the commuter backpack, let's talk about airports. Commuting. So you can see we have a luggage pass-through holder, which allows you to carry your bag the way it should be on a suitcase, standing upright. Like this luggage pass-through holder a lot. It's got some slack to it as to where it's easy to slide on and slide off, even though the bag is fully packed out right now, and with the tech compartment having a laptop in there. And it also allows the bag to stand upright like a champ. Salute, sir. Thank you for your service. Before we talk about comfort, let's talk about this hidden zippered compartment, which is a really good spot for a wallet and or a passport, right? You're not gonna fit something bulky in there because it's a very flat compartment. But I like the security of something like this because a lot of backpacks will have wallet pockets like this that are on the side. And they're still pretty secure, but in essence, that zipper can still sort of be accessed if there was a good enough thief. But no matter how good of a thief it is with this zipper, you know, your back is really protecting whatever's in there. So from a security perspective, this is quite nice and could be a great spot for, like I said, passport, wallet, or you can even put your phone back there. Now let's talk about comfort. I think this bag is averagely comfortable, above average. Keep in mind too, though, everyone's position on comfort will vary. Body type and just what, it's so hard to nail down when a bag is actually comfortable. I know this because I've read every single comment that's ever been made on my channel. And what I think is uncomfortable, somebody else might love and vice versa. But we got a pretty basic harness system, shoulder straps, decent padding, got a ventilated mesh material on the bottom of the shoulder straps for a bit of extra breathability. And little bit harder of a back panel, which I do like because it gives the bag structure and maybe a slight little bit of ventilation. More or less, like they just kind of felt like your average straps. There's not really like a lot of contouring going on. It's just sort of like middle of the road, which some people like. Maybe you don't want like all that fancy, crazy high-tech crap on a backpack. Just like, give me a backpack, damn it. The comfort is definitely helped by the sternum strap. Who makes you? Fidlock, okay. One of the best hardware manufacturers in the world. Got a dangle stopper here, a couple dangle stoppers there, which means you can put the sign down, little guy. Put it down, take a breather, have a beer. Sternum strap is easy to adjust, slide up and slide back down. Loving a sternum strap on a backpack, it helps comfort so freaking much. Like, and I say by what I said, you know, it's a good comfort, not exceptional. I'm a bit more on side of like Team Aer. Aer is a San Francisco-based carry company, and they're known for making really beefy shoulder straps. Because when you're carrying a lot of tech stuff, you know, you just want that harness system to feel incredible. So if you like a more bulky mattressy experience, be sure to wait around until the alternative section in just a minute, where I'll talk about some of my favorite, more comfortable bags. Not that, like I said, this is uncomfortable, just different strokes for different folks. Now, before I go into the pros and cons, I also want to mention, if you're enjoying this review, you might be a bit of a bag nerd, which you may not have realized until this very moment in time. And if so, I'd like to welcome you, because you're amongst friends. This is a bag nerd community. All we do on Nomads Nation is talk about bags, because you might not know this, but there's like a freaking revolution happening in the world of travel and everyday carry gear, with bags being at the epicenter of that. So if that interests you, I highly recommend checking out the Nomads Nation newsletter. And in that newsletter, I'm like on the front lines, reporting to you what's happening in this incredible world of travel and EDC gear, whether it's the newest drops, the biggest collabs, discount codes that are exclusive to our community, and giveaways. We do it all. So if you want to keep your finger on the pulse of what's happening in the world of gear, be sure to look for this globe emoji in the description below, and I hope to see you in your inbox. All right, let's talk about the overall pros and the cons of the Ridge Commuter Backpack MKBHD collab. Pro number one is you gotta love a backpack that self-stands. Pro number two is I think the dual access to the main compartment is quite nifty. And pro number three, you can't take it for granted, not all backpacks have this. The dual water bottle holders are very effective, very well designed. But on the flip side, every bag has cons. And here are my cons for this bag. Con number one is it's not the most comfortable bag that I've ever reviewed, in my opinion. Con number two is going to be limited access to that admin compartment in the back of the main compartment. And con number three for me is this bag is a bit of a black hole. That black lining would have been so much better if it was like a light gray or a neon orange. But if you're still here watching, this is a good chance that you disagree with all my cons. You're like, Aaron, I only see pros. I love the bag, I'm totally getting one. And if that's the case, just a reminder, we do suggest that you do so with the first link in the description. Reason being, that link makes sure that you get the best price, and if we have any discount codes, that's what they'll be. But you also might be sticking around because I tease those alternative recommendations. Let's talk about them. Alternative suggestion number one is going to be the Aer City Pack Pro 2. This is a great pick for you if you're kind of new to this world of bags. MKBHD brought you here, but you might be leaving here being like, damn, there's so much out there. And Aer is one of my favorites. They're known for making really awesome, durable tech carry gear. And the City Pack Pro 2 is one of the best EDC tech bags in the game. And alternative recommendation number two is going to be the Nomatic Backpack. Great pick for you if you really like a bag that has a lot of internal organization, but the lack of accessibility of this bag's pockets are a bit of a bummer for you. The Nomatic Backpack has this front panel with tons of organization in pockets. It's got a really business-friendly design. Super cool aesthetic. I love all three bags. Every bag has its own pros and cons. But to learn more about the two alternatives, just go ahead and watch these videos right here. If you got any questions about any bags, be sure to let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Aaron. This is Nomads Nation, and we'll catch you next time.